Hello there, another journal to share with you today. This is another one with a painted cloth cover, painted calico. It's again a recycled book and it's quite plain. I've used an old penny, 1952 Australian penny for the spine, good year 1952. And I've just put a little label on the front with the word Aus. That can easily be changed if a different title needs to be put on it. But I was thinking about Australia Day. I was also thinking about using up the components I've made for my Australiana set, or Chris and I have made, which is in Chris's Etsy shop, the printable digital download. And so I've used that in here. I hadn't done anything really up until now that showcases it and highlights it, so I thought perhaps I would this time. This pocket, it's Aus in Matilda with some of the notes and words from the song in the background on the tea-dyed paper with some gum leaves and Waltzing Matilda stamp. You probably can't see that terribly well, but it seemed appropriate to put it there. And a pocket there with a couple of tags. Again, these are from the set. This one has got a printed tree kangaroo image, and this one just has a little digital image of an Australian stamp. Some of the pages I've printed with some of the papers from the Australiana set, the pages, and on the back is just some lined. There's a range of papers in the journal, as I usually like to put some plain printed paper, plenty of coffee dyed paper. Lots of journaling cards. This is a Tasmanian artist whose work I really like. Little triangle pocket in the corner. Lovely big journaling card on a Margaret Preston. I think it was a birthday card. I've got a friend who sends me. She visits a lot of museums and things in Sydney and Canberra, and she always finds me a Margaret Preston. She knows how much I love it, so I've actually decided instead of clinging onto them, I'm using them up. How good's that? One of the little cellophane bags that Manuela from Switzerland sent me, and I've added a little embellishment I made from an old Australian stamp, Queen Victoria when she was a pup. And I've just inserted a little coffee dyed extra documentation with one of the little botanical toppers on that. And on the little corner pocket that I made, I've put this little swan, black swan. It's one of the Western Australian stamps. It's one of their state images, I believe, the black swan, and it just looks quite nice on there. I've also inserted in this album several, I think 2 pages, or 2 double pages in each signature, and there are 3 signatures, I didn't mention that. Double page of, I think it's a heavyweight cartridge paper, so anyone wants to do some drawing, they can, or painting or sketching or whatever. Also it's a little stepper, so it's quite good for gluing things onto or adding a photo to, whatever, if you're not into the other stuff. I've used some of the digital images on these. This one was Poppy from Remembrance Day. This is a few pages from an old wine book produced many years ago. Little gold pocket there with a belly band made with some of the stamp images that I've made, just used as a belly band. A little tag with a koala. This is one of Jeremy Boot, his name. Yes, Jeremy Boot is a South Australian artist, and he does some lovely bird and wildlife images, and that's just a little plain card, great for documentation. And that's another bigger tag from the Australiana set. Again, the tree kangaroo. I've held all these in with clips because they're it's easier while I'm flicking through them while I'm making. I've used not only a lot of my stamps but also first day covers, and this was one from a South Australian first day cover. I like the colours and the imagery on that. Some more papers, tea-dyed papers, and in the centre of this signature we've got a pull-out with bits of Australian imagery on the paper, and on the back of this one there's a little pocket with some tickets that I made when I was playing with how to design a string of tickets, different images on it. There's another one of these stamp images used as a little tuck spot for one of the small tags. And over here there's some other tickets here that were, I just made those up. It was the Tasman Limited, which was a train here in Tasmania when I was a child, and it was always a joy to travel on. We don't actually have any passenger trains operating in Tasmania apart from a couple of tourist ones. So that's just got an Australian artist image, trees and river at sunset, and I've made it into a documentation tag there. So that's on that side, and on the other side there's a map of part of Australia, part of Western Australia, and again another little pocket with a couple of little wombat tag and a journaling card, which is a camel, man riding a camel on a train, Trans-Australian Railway poster. This doesn't really fit, but I had to get rid of it. It's been in my stash forever and a day. Just a felted beaded paper clip and a stamp from Mawson, Antarctic Territory, and those 4 tags, just a journaling spot. They fit in there quite nicely. Oh, and another little part of a tag with a couple more tickets just popped in there. This one is a Tasmanian Requiem. It was about the Tasmanian Aboriginals. This pocket has got some one of our bark and gum leaf images on it, and I've used a couple of these little journaling cards. I had an old Ginger Meg's book, and Ginger Meg's is a pretty well-known character, has been since the early 1920s in Australia, one of the longest running cartoon strips, I believe. And well, Ginger Meg's was always a very boyish young larrikin. Was certainly enjoyed during our childhood. These are postcards from ANZAC, the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps. The centenary of them was, when was it? 2018, so last year. And our library put out some of these, and that's a picture of Sergeant Ernest Roy Prettyman from the Tasmanian Archive. And the little circle on this side is one of my digitally altered images of the Derwent River. So I've just used them here and there to put a bit of colour. There's another part of that wine book, the back of that with some maps of wine growing areas. A bit of digital printing on these. That's the end of the first signature. This is the second. It's got well stained coffee paper, some gum leaves, and what's that? A spotted quoll, I believe. We've got a large tag with some ring-tailed possums, and the corner is made from a piece with a boab tree, which was a painting. And there's another one of those lovely woodcuts. That's the second one. More cartridge paper, more maps of wine areas. There's a little bandicoot. This little pocket has got a couple of tags, again decorated with a stamp, and a kangaroo, and on the front of this is the Tasmanian tiger, or thylacine, which is, it says it's an endangered species, but I think we're kidding ourselves that it's endangered. I think it's well and truly extinct. No one's seen one for many, many years, but hope dies hard. Now the centre of this one, I've simply folded the edges back and stitched them to produce a couple of little tuck spots, and I've inserted these long documentation strips in there. I thought they were quite fun. And they've just got a stamp at the top to create a little stop, and there's a second one there. Just the same. More of the papers. There's another image of a boab tree. Here's another of the Ginger Meg journaling cards. This one's got a fish, sort of half belly band. It just is adhered there and at the join and continues over the page. And down the bottom is some more of those train ticket type tickets that I've just used as a stopper. And again, they carry on over the page, and there's just a little journaling card there with a bit of that lovely wildflower paper on it. Platypus gum leaves. This one's got it's part of an old map of Hobart as the signature cover. A little pocket there. Again, it's got a doily. I don't know if you can see the crochet doily pattern on that. Plus a stamp, flannel flower stamp, and a collection of tags. Again, that one's got a centenary of the first airmail. There's an emu, that's an old stamp. I can't see the date on that, but it's quite an old one. Another bit of embroidery from my grandmother, and that little tag's got a koala, and they just all pop in there. I usually back all my tags with, doesn't want to go past that stamp, does it? I'll just leave them out until after. I usually back all of my tags with file cards with the lines, but I haven't in this because I wanted to keep it a bit thinner. It does add to the bulk when you've done quite a few tags, and I wanted to include a lot in this one. There's another part of an old image of Hobart and Mount Wellington, and I think it was taken from a painting, so it's quite sort of distorted there. The centre of this last one has got little pockets stitched in, and there's a lot of little journaling cards and tourist posters in there, and another one of those Anzac images from, looks like the Middle East, looks like Egypt with pyramids and someone riding a camel. And this one is just a Tasmanian government postcard with the Tasmanian devil. So these little ones, again, first day covers, just journaling cards, and travel posters for air-conditioned trains, that sort of thing, from quite a while back. This has got a double pocket. It's got a pocket there with a little space on the front, and it's got platypus, it's got a large tag there. This journal's going around to the gallery again. There's another one of those little ones. The suspense is awful. This is Tasmania in the Great War. It was an exhibition at the Tasmania Museum and Art Gallery, and that was one of the images that was on it. A very young lad in his... The suspense is awful, I guess, relating to parents and grandparents and brothers and other family members away at the war. It all seemed very, very remote, I'm sure. This is a little sort of a postcardy nappy thing that I've had in my stash for ages and ages, and what you do is, it's just Australia and Tasmania, and you plot, if you're travelling, plot your route and write bits in and mark your route where you've been and what you've seen, and you can use it as a bit of a record. And I thought, well, I think it's appropriate for that to leave the stash box and be put in a journal. So that's what happened. And that's the final pocket at the back. It's just a large Australia tag with rabbits and ants and eucalyptus leaves. So that's about it. Very simple. Again, a good closure. It was a little close to being too bulgy, but I didn't want to trim it any more than I had. It was quite a narrow cover, so it's a little bulgy, but I've sort of added these little cloth and seam binding tags to some of the paper clips, and just to make it more of a feature. So that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this little journal. I'm going to run it round to the gallery and see if it can find a new home. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye now.